Something in the back of my mind says something is not right. She wrote on the note that she needed help.
It's not surprising that hostage stories are used in films. They keep the audience on edge and are a foolproof way to add some thrill in the movie. However, it's never good when a person becomes a real-life victim of criminals. In moments like these, their last hope is to ask for help in such a way that their aggressor doesn't notice. Here are 7 secret messages sent by hostages that ended up saving their lives. Number 7. Pizza to the rescue. Using an app to order takeaway can be quite useful, and that is one reason why we have all used these food ordering apps at least once in our lives. It can save us a lot of time, and in an emergency situation, even lives. That's what happened when an Avon Park, Florida resident was kidnapped by her boyfriend and kept hostage. By using the app, she was able to contact the police in a completely unexpected way. The 25-year-old hostage, Cheryl Treadway, had a fight with her 26-year-old boyfriend, Ethan Nickerson, who also happened to be the father of her 3 children. He had taken away her phone and didn't let Cheryl leave the house for a long time after the fight. But being the determined person Cheryl was, she ultimately convinced him that the children were hungry and that she could order pizza for them if they couldn't leave the house. Luckily, he agreed, and Cheryl used the pizza delivery app to order a small pepperoni pizza and wrote, "Please help me, call 911." This did not go unnoticed by the Pizza Hut staff, and the restaurant manager later confessed that this was the first time she was seeing something like that in 28 years of her career. Since she had immediately called the police, Cheryl was able to leave the house with 1 child, while the 2 others had to stay with their father during negotiations. The police did manage to persuade Nickerson to release the children and surrender to the police. He was then charged with kidnapping, armed assault, and obstruction of justice. Number 6. Notes in the bathroom. Once an Alaska Airlines stewardess, Sheila Frederick, noticed 2 strange passengers on board the plane. One a well-dressed man, the other was a messy teenage girl who seemed pretty frightened.
He was well dressed. That's what kind of got me because I'm like, why is he well dressed and she is looking all disheveled and out of sorts?
And not the kind of frightened you get from flying on a plane for the first time. Although Sheila tried to talk to the girl, the man didn't let her, which just increased Sheila's suspicions.
Something in the back of my mind says something is not right.
She silently signaled the girl to go to the bathroom, where she had left a piece of paper on the mirror. The girl asked for help on that exact note, turning out to be a victim of sex trafficking. Sheila immediately alerted the authorities in advance, and as a result, the man was arrested. Fortunately, this incident had no effect on the girl's life, who grew up, went to college, and is still in contact with Sheila, who saved her life thanks to her vigilance and keen observation skills. However, one change this incident brought was a campaign that was launched by airline ambassadors to make crew members aware about how such kidnapping cases should be dealt with, keeping their eye out for details like the victim being scared to be around people, wearing uniforms, or responding with what seems like prepared phrases or being dressed strangely for the destination can be all factors that alert you of potential kidnapping. Staying alert in situations like this so you can save someone's life, it did in the case of Sheila. Number 5. The Morse Code. Serving as a U.S. naval pilot during the Vietnam War, Jeremiah Andrew Denton Jr. was shot down in North Vietnam with the crew captured. He ended up spending 8 years in prison, with most of them in solitary confinement. Even though it's a given that the life of a prisoner of war can be difficult, no one was prepared as to how hard it actually was. When he was involved in a television interview with authorities in 1966, Denton informed the U.S. intelligence services that he, among his crew, was being tortured and ill-treated. He did so by pretending that he was sensitive to light when answering the interviewer's questions, and he blinked the Morse code using the word torture many times. Since the interview was broadcast live on American television, all hell broke loose, and by February 12, 1973, Denton was released in Hanoi by the North Vietnamese authorities along with many other American prisoners of war. He was later awarded with the Navy Cross and other medals for his heroism and the sacrifices he made for his country.
When people are put into tight situations, whether it be in prison or in any other kind of circumstance in life, painful, death-fearing situations, they go to God. God gives them help, and they can behave themselves much better than they can under easier circumstances.
Number 4. Pizza Delivery Guy. Using pizza delivery as a means to ask for help seems to be pretty common. Perhaps we underestimated the power of pizza. In the town of Waldo, Wisconsin, a pizza delivery man ended up saving a woman's life who had been kidnapped by her ex-boyfriend. The 24-year-old Joey Grundle brought pizza for the woman and noticed that she didn't exactly look the best. Even though the woman was standing behind the ex-boyfriend who had ordered the pizza, he could see that the woman had a black eye, which she pointed to and silently whispered, "Help," mouthing the words, "Call the police."
She clearly had a black eye, and she pointed to it, and I swear she mouthed, "Help me."
As soon as Joey returned back to his car, he dialed 911 and told the police exactly what he had seen. The sheriff's deputies were quick to respond and arrived almost immediately, discovering that it was the landlady's ex-boyfriend who had ordered all of the pizza and had barged in uninvited. He had attacked the woman, tied her up, and taken her hostage. The man did confess to having a gun in his car and was charged with domestic violence and kidnapping. Sometimes all you have to do is be there and be attentive to save a life. Number 3. Kangaroo Express. Once a Kangaroo Express employee noticed that a woman was sitting in a car near a store and was looking quite strange. Although the woman didn't say anything, she did gesture that she needed help right that moment. Even though it was 1 in the morning, the police arrived immediately and discovered that the woman had been kidnapped by a guy named Jose Ramos Sandoval, who had offered her a ride. The woman had mistakenly thought he was her friend's friend and accepted the ride, which turned out to be a huge mistake. She did try to leave the car when she realized what was going on, but Sandoval forced her to stay as he drove in an unknown direction. The only choice she had then was to ask for help in silence. She didn't waste time seeking help, understanding that the unknown yet friendly employee could be her only chance to get away. Number 2. Protest labels. While this wasn't a hostage situation, it is a story worth telling, nevertheless, because of how cleverly these secret messages were hidden. In 2017, customers at a Zara store located in Istanbul discovered labels that were quite different from the usual recommendations on how to care for the clothes. But these unusual labels actually turned out to be complaints from Turkish workers about the unreceived payments. Workers decided to come to the shop and put additional tags on the clothes that read, "You're going to buy this article, I've made it, and I'm not paid for it," hoping that this would draw in attention and, as a result, get Zara to pay them. According to these protesters, the company owed them 3 months' wages and hadn't even paid them severance pay after the closure of one of their factories. These factories are where clothes for famous brands like Zara, Next, and Mango are produced. Although Zara's parent company, Inditex, did promise to reimburse the workers' payments as soon as possible, we don't know if the workers did actually get it. However, one thing is for sure, these secret protest labels made much more of a difference than the protesters had hoped for, as they started a worldwide debate on why fast fashion was worrying. Number 1. The Letter and the Tombstone. Julie Kate from Portland bought a set of artificial tombstones for Halloween one day. She put them aside for the time being and ended up forgetting about them until a couple of years later when she suddenly found a hidden letter between the tombstones. This letter had been carefully written in blue ink, and although some of the words were misspelled, the meaning of the letter was clear as day. The letter read, "Dear Sir, if you buy this product from time to time, please send a letter to the World Human Rights Council. Thousands of people will thank you and remember you forever." The note mentioned that the decoration had been done at the 8th Masanji labor camp in Shanghai, China, where prisoners have to work 15 hours a day, 7 days a week, under the threat of terrible punishments. Julie was shocked to find the letter, and even more so when she discovered it was undoubtedly authentic. She tried her best to make this information public, and one day the New York Times contacted her to let her know that they had found the author of the letter, a man named Sun Yi, who had been in work camp himself and had decided to tell the world what was happening behind closed doors. He had written about 20 letters and had placed them in all boxes of artificial tombstones and had managed to relay his message to the world. And that's a wrap on 7 secret messages sent by hostages that saved lives. What do you think about these cleverly hidden messages? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.